Welcome to Yap's Money Life Show. Thank you again for your interest and support. Today, I got good news to share. You see, in less than 1 month, Wickman's show called Yap's Money Life Show, we managed to get more than 100 subscribers. So with that, I would like to say a big thank you to every one of you who's watching this. Secondly, I also would like to say congratulations. Do I want to say congratulations to you? It's because despite Yap Ming Hui got no pretty face, there is no entertainment content in this show, there's no sophisticated special effect or graphic, you still pay attention to the content of this show. So what it means that you are really serious about achieving financial freedom, about learning how to invest your money, and about growing your money with high certainty. So if you continue to do so, I am very sure you will join the minority group of people who's on track to achieve financial freedom. Today, I'm going to talk about why Robert Kiyosaki's advice may cost you your financial freedom. Now, of course, Robert Kiyosaki needs no further introduction. Everybody knows him. Okay? Now, I must also confess, I am also a fan of Robert Kiyosaki. So when I was much younger, I'm actually inspired by him of the idea about investing, about the idea of achieving financial freedom. I especially like his concept about this employee, self-employed, business owner, and eventually we should all become investor. Okay? However, as I practice my professional practice, as I talk to more clients, I discover some of his advice could be quite dangerous and may not be so applicable in Malaysia situation. Today, I want to share one of these advice. Now, you see, he always said that the only way to get out of the rat race of the middle class is to become rich. And to him, to become rich is to take on good debt. Okay? For example, you must take loan to leverage on the loan to invest into properties. However, good debt or bad debt to me is still a debt. It's still a loan, it's still a liability, and it's still a risk. When your loan, when your debt is small, is manageable, then it's okay. Okay? But if your properties, out of your total investor asset, you actually invest into like 95% of it into properties, okay? Or those property that you actually invest into, you take up to say 90% of the loan. And then in this case, you are taking excessive risk, okay? So when you are not able to sell the property or flip the property, when you are not able to rent the property, then you may not be able to pay the repayment to the bank loan, and there is a chance that the bank may repossess a property, foresell it, and if the loan is too big, chances are you may become bankrupt instead of becoming rich. So don't get me wrong, I'm not against property investing. It's just that I believe moderation is the key to successful property investing. So if we were to take moderate approach in property investing, I believe we can also achieve success in financial freedom. Say for example, when we invest in properties, I would suggest that we don't invest more than 50% of our total investor asset into properties. Okay, when we take loan, I would suggest we don't take more than 50% of the loan, okay, on the total asset that we have. Okay, by doing so, we will still be able to grow our money with high certainty to achieve financial freedom. And we can do that by taking very minimum risk. My question is, why not? In this section, I will answer the questions that I have received from the viewers. Now, I have a question from Leonard Subang Jaya. His questions go like this. I expect to have 10,000 per month retirement lifestyle. Is 3 million enough for my retirement fund? Wow, okay, 3 million. Now, you see, first to answer these questions, I need to make a few assumptions. Number one, assumption is that inflation rate is 6%, and Leonard is going to live, say, 30 years, okay, after his retirement, say maybe at 55 up to 85 years old. And we also assume that this 3 million will be used to fund his retirement lifestyle and then to be liquidated along the way, and eventually when he's 85, this money will become zero. So this is the 3 assumptions that we have on how I'm going to answer these questions. So with that 3 assumptions there, then my answer will be very much depend on what kind of investment return, what kind of investment ROI that Leonard, that you manage to achieve for your retirement asset. You see, if your expenses now is 120,000 per year for your retirement lifestyle, and your return is only 4% per year, based on my calculation, it would not be enough to fund your 30 years of retirement lifestyle. Your money would last you at the end of 17 years. And for that matter, if you want the money, the 3 million, to last for 30 years, you need to lower your retirement living standard, okay, or reduce your retirement living expenses. So if your expenses are 120,000 per year and your ROI is 8%, that will be enough for you to fund 30 years of retirement lifestyle. Okay, so we can see it all depends on your ROI. If your ROI is low, and in that case, you need to adjust and you need to lower your retirement living standard. Okay, so Leonard, my urge to you is that we should not accept low return. Okay, and for retiree also, not only for Leonard, for all the retiree, we should not accept low investment return. We must learn how to find ideas, how to find good investment alternative in order for us to generate, okay, decent return. To generate return which is higher than inflation, higher than 6%. By doing so, we can grow our retirement asset bigger, and we can also enjoy a better retirement lifestyle. If you want me to answer your most burning questions about money, please drop me an email or WhatsApp me your questions. Now, I have another question from Susan. She's from Sento. She said that in episode 6, you talked about well-disguised scams. Why is it so important to avoid them, and what is the impact to my financial freedom if I were to invest into these well-disguised scams? Okay, now, you see, when we want to grow money with high certainty, when we want to be very sure about getting good result for our investment, we need to know how the losses impact our investment result. You see, when you lose 5%, when you lose 10%, when you lost 15%, to your investment capital, when you invest, you feel painful. But when you invest the money, this is pretty normal. As long as whatever that you lose, you rebound, then you are okay. Okay? But what you cannot accept is to lose not only 10%, 20%, but to lose 100% of your capital. And when you lose your 100% of capital, you lose it forever. That is not acceptable. If you remember what Warren Buffett always say, rule number 1, never lose money. And rule number 2, refer to rule number 1. If you invest into a scam, whether it's an obvious scam or well-disguised scam, there is a very high chance that you may lose the whole capital of your investment. So my investment principle is number 1, when we invest into the investment, we want to make sure that we may lose money, okay, the investment value may drop, but it got to be resilient, that it will rebound back and make a gain. That's number 1. Number 2 principle that we have in investing for myself is about that there must be some protection measure to ensure that my investment capital is always safe. Okay, we must know that to get the gain, to get the return, this is something that we can't control. But what we can control is about the risk, and risk can be managed and controlled. So the truth is, wealth management is always more on risk management than return management. Thank you so much for watching. If you wish to learn how to grow your money with high certainty, please visit my website. If you find this video useful, please comment, share, and like. Have a great day. Hey there, if you like my video, please remember to subscribe to my channel.